Alright, how's everybody doing today? Back again with another review for you guys. Shooting this one a little early because it wrapped up early, so I figured why not shoot. But first of all, before we get started, I just want to take this time to thank everybody that has subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate that you guys enjoy the type of content I shoot, so I just wanted to say thank you. And let's get it moving. Alright, so today we have my full review after about almost 2.5 weeks of the LG G Vista. I hope you guys enjoy my honest opinions. So, here we go. So, starting off, I just want to talk about the build quality of this device. And now, as you can see, it's all plastic here. It's a fingerprint magnet, screen back, everything. So if you're gonna pick this guy up, you're gonna definitely need a cloth. I have two. So, but build quality wise, it is built quite good. It does creak a little bit, and you can definitely tell that it's plastic. Other than that, it's constructed well, I would say. It does feel very light, although there is a 3200 milliamp hour battery in there. It does feel very light, so there's that. But yeah, definitely it's very slippery, so you're definitely gonna need to put a case on it. But for as big as it is, I rarely had an issue holding it because you see my hands are not that big, so I rarely had an issue holding it. But it did slide around a lot, and because of the back mounted buttons, it kind of rocks a little bit on the table. So there's that. But in terms of overall build quality, I would say it's built quite well. Now, moving on, let's talk about the display. Up front, dead center, could barely get it in the frame. What we have here is a 5.7-inch display, and I would say that it's built very well, you guys. And now let me just pull up the stats for you guys here. So there it is. It's a 5.7-inch display, and it has a resolution of 720 by 1280 and a pixel density of 320. So there goes the numbers for you guys. But in terms of, view to the naked eye, I would say it's quite good. It's quite good indeed. Didn't have any issues with it, and it gets very bright outdoors. I don't have it on full brightness now because then it'll be difficult to see, but it gets very bright outdoors, and it's very good to the naked eye. Some issues though was that in web pages, you kind of have to zoom in just a little bit to see the text nice and crisp. But if you leave it where it's at from, just don't zoom in, it kind of looks a little tiny. But that's not too bad. But other than that, it's a very beautiful display, and it does get bright. It's very good for outdoors. Yeah. So, moving right along now, let's talk about the hardware and software in this guy. So in here, we have a Snapdragon 400 clocked at 1.2 gigahertz with 15 100 megabytes of RAM, so that's 1.5 gigs, and 8 gigs of internal storage with micro SD card expansion up to 32 gigs. But right now, let me show you. Out of that 8 gigs, just under 4 is available to the user, and you can see after I install some apps, I have just about 2.8 left, and I do have a 32 gig SD card in here, of which I've used about 5 gigs. So if you get a SD card, I don't think you'll have an issue. Other than that, it is running Android 4.4.2, and yeah. Yeah. So, moving right along. Okay, yep, let me talk more about the software, my bad. It's running Android 4.4.2, and it's got a bevy of features in here. As you can see, you can customize the icons like such. Just wanted to show you guys that. So you can customize the icons with your own pictures or what they have there. And then you can make folders. And if we go into the settings here, you have a bevy of features. If we go to display, you can change your sizes and fonts, but, and this is a feature I really like, you can change the button layout of the software keys. So originally, I think it came the other way around, so back was over there and recent apps was over here, but I kind of like it this way because it makes it easier to get to recent apps. Other features you can add are dual windows and a little pull down for your notification shade, quick memo feature, or Q slide apps. I don't really use the Q slide apps or the quick memo feature, but the dual window and the notification shade drop down, I did use those. Those work very well, but I kind of like it this way, so I took those off. Other than that, we have locks. If you go into lock screen options, you have your knock knock code under security. You have face detection, and I'm pretty sure you guys know what the knock knock code is by this point. You can designate areas of the screen to tap, and it unlocks the phone. You also have face detection, and everything else is standard. Your pattern, no security, your swipe, your password, and your PIN. So there's that. And then you can also customize lock screen shortcuts, all that good stuff. And then under gestures, they kept it simple. You just have a few gestures. You know, flip over the phone to silence incoming calls and pause video, you know, and there we go. Just kept it simple. Flip over the phone to snooze alarms, and then if you go under one-handed features, you have a few one-handed features that you can enable, including small view, where if you swipe across the bottom navigation buttons from left to right, it makes the screen more one-handed, a little tinier one-handed, and to get it back, you just swipe back again across the screen, and it goes back to normal. Then you have a tiny lock screen feature for passwords and pins, and you have a small keyboard for people with smaller hands. You can adjust the keyboard so it's on the right or left side, and then you have a smaller dial pad, which is the same thing. You can adjust the dial pad so it's on the right or left side. Other than that, I would say everything's pretty much stock, except for they have a smart cleaning feature, which, you know, just scans your whole phone and lets you know what you can get rid of, and you just click it and it gets rid of it. But I don't really use that because I don't really use it much. And you can enable and disable your dual windows feature here. And they do have a guest mode that you can enable with a lock screen pattern or pin, like so. Everything else is standard, and they do have printing, so you can print to a Wi-Fi enabled printer. Other than that, yeah, it's pretty standard, and you have shortcut keys for your back mounted keys here, but you only have two. You can't really customize it. So if you, while the screen is off, if you hold volume down, you'll quickly launch into the camera, and if you hold volume up, you'll quickly launch into quick memo here. But I don't really use quick memo, but the camera shortcut has come in handy. But we'll talk about the cameras a little later. So yeah, other than those features, I'd say that there's nothing else. They didn't really add too many heavy features, just things that they thought the user might need, and it doesn't slow down the performance of the phone at all. Everything is pretty buttery, so that was always good. So, moving right along here, let's talk about the glitches, the stutters, and the crashes. Now, there were quite a few random reboots on this device. I'm not sure why, but I would want to say at least 3. And I switched the runtimes. If you go under settings and in about phone and go down to the software and tap your build number 10 times, you'll enable developer options. And then you can switch the runtime. Now, I switched the runtime because I wanted to see if switching to the Art runtime instead of the Dalvik would, clean up some of the reboots. No, it was pretty much the same on either Art or Dalvik. It did reboot at least 3 times, and I'm not sure why. Other than that, it was a pretty smooth experience playing a lot of games. Didn't have any issues with stutters or anything. And with the Adreno 305 GPU in here, that's not a problem. So that's a pretty well tested GPU. Didn't have any issues. Now, I do want to say, although it has 1.5 gigs of RAM, if you start playing a lot of graphically intensive games, like more than 4, then it will have to reload as you switch between them. But for regular tasks, didn't really have any other glitches and stutters aside from that. Now we'll get into the Art versus Dalvik when I talk about the battery, because I found out something pretty surprising there. But other than that, no other real glitches, stutters, or crashes aside from the random reboots. I'm not sure why I did that. Okay. Now, moving right along, let's talk about the Wi-Fi in this guy. So, in terms of Wi-Fi, what we have inside this guy here is, let me see, I wrote it down somewhere. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so we have 802.11 BGN. No AC here, but it does pick up the 5 gigahertz band. So that's pretty nice, because I have a pretty decent router, and for it to pick up the 5 gigahertz band, I really enjoy that. I get some really good speeds. But yeah, it's good. So I really enjoy that. I really look for that in the phone, whether I can take advantage of the faster speed of my router. Most of the phones some of the other phones that I reviewed, or most of them, can't really take advantage of that 5 gigahertz band. But this one does, and I must say it's really nice. Now, let's get into a little Wi-Fi test here for you guys, so you guys can see. Let me see, I think I put it in recent apps to make it faster. And as you can see, jumping from app to app is pretty seamless. And now let's play a little video so you guys can see what the Wi-Fi is like. So there you go. Loads up pretty quickly.
This is the Alcatel Idol 3.
Yeah. No issues there. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. And we'll get into speeds a little bit later with the benchmarks. But no problems with Wi-Fi whatsoever. So that was pretty cool. Now, moving right along, let's talk about the bands in this guy. And this is the part that I really enjoy, and I'm going to tell you why. But let's first talk about the bands in this guy first. Now, in this one here, this is the AT&T model, the D631, but it's completely unlocked, and I'm running it on T-Mobile, as you can see there from the status bar. Now, the bands in this guy, and it does support the LTE bands. It supports the for GSM 850, 900, 1900, and 2100. For LTE, it supports 700, band 17, 800, band 5, 1700 and 2100, band 4, 1900, band 2. So you really do get some pretty good LTE speeds in this guy when you're out on the road if you're in a good coverage area. And as you can see right now, if I turn my Wi-Fi off, I'm getting about 3 to 4 bars of LTE. As you can see there, 4G LTE. So that was pretty good. That was pretty good. And I really enjoy that out on the street. But as for where I live, once I leave my house or I'm going anywhere, it's decent coverage. I get about 1 to 2 LTE bars, but it is what it is, you know. But that was really good there. Now let's talk about the Bluetooth. Now the Bluetooth in this guy is Bluetooth 4.0, and I must say that in terms of Bluetooth, it ran extremely well. Didn't have any issues. Now you could see everything that I paired it up to. My grandma just got a new smartphone, that G3 Vigor, and then my aunties have S5s. So did a few file transfers and hooked them up with stuff, music and things like that. And then you see my lot fancy headphones there. Everything synced up, no problems, didn't have any issues transferring anything. So Bluetooth on this device is really good, and I can really attest to that because for heavy usage on the battery, I'm not going to give away too much now, but I did stream a lot of movies and use my Bluetooth headset for quite a while. Really pushed the phone and the headphones to its limits, and we'll talk about that in the battery portion, but the Bluetooth was very good. Now, moving right along, let's talk about the GPS in this guy here. Now, this is kind of a sore point of the review for me because I'm used to a lot better GPS results, but this phone really did struggle to lock on to my location when I was testing it. Now, I did get it to lock, but it didn't stay for too long, and it was very sporadic. So the GPS in this guy, I would have to say, although it does work, it doesn't work too well. And that was kind of a bummer for me because, as y'all have heard from my other videos, I'm not too directionally savvy, so I do depend a lot on my GPS. So to have a GPS that doesn't work too well, that's a little bit of a problem for me. Now, I did try to look and see if I can get a fix. I downloaded some apps. I even thought about rooting the device so I can learn how to change some things and probably make it stronger. But I could not find a root method for this device, and all of the apps I tried couldn't get it to lock on any faster. And I did do a few factory resets and, all types of stuff like that, but couldn't get the GPS to work up to par. So that's a downside on this device. So if you're gonna pick this up, you better be more directionally savvy than me. So yeah. Moving right along. Now let's talk about the call quality and the speakers on this guy here. So in terms of call quality, I would say that this phone is really good. Voices through the receiver were nice and loud and crisp, and people told me that they had no problems hearing me at all. So, and it was very loud, so that was beautiful. And in terms of speaker calls, it was very loud and clear also. Now, moving on to the actual speaker quality in terms of music and things. Let me just load up the music here. Now, in about the middle, about 50%, it sounds really good. But on the top end, at max volume, it tends to distort just a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and play a song for you guys so you guys can hear. Let me see what I can find really quickly. Let me see. I want to find something good here. Just real quickly here. Don't want to get any flags on the video, so I'm trying to find something that I can just play really quickly here. Okay, so let's play a few seconds of this, and let me start with, let me turn it up to half. So that's about half there, and it's a rear mounted speaker, so you do have problems with that. It's easy to muffle, but you get used to learning how to hold it so it doesn't muffle the sound. Now, let me turn it up to max volume so you guys can hear. Now, it does get quite loud. So that's really good. Yeah, so that's the speaker test. It does get quite loud. The phone tends to vibrate a little bit with when the bass hits. So there's also that. And it does distort just a touch, but it is quite loud and very crisp. So the speakers on this guy, I would say, are very good. Now, for noisier environments, if you're gonna be listening to music, I would suggest some headphones, because even with the speakers cranked up all the way in very crowded, noisy areas, it's kind of hard to hear what you're doing. So I would suggest you pick up some Bluetooth headphones or some regular plug-in headphones. And the plug-in headphones, the 3.5mm headphone jack actually works really good. I borrowed some of my nephew's Sony's, and it worked really good. And I already told y'all about the Bluetooth. That was also very good. Now, moving right along here, let's talk about the cameras. So I just used a little shortcut there to launch directly into the cameras, and as you can see, it was very seamless and quick. Now, when you first launch the camera, it comes like this, and as you can see, it's very bare, and if you just tap, it takes a picture, focuses and takes a picture. Now, the focus times on this guy are really good because it has the laser autofocus, as you can see right there. So focus times are really good, and that focus to take a picture is really good. As you can see, it's trying to lock focus up now, but it focuses really fast. Now, in terms of features, if you click the little 3 dots menu there, you see all the menus and things here. So in terms of modes, and it's very bare, we just have auto and panorama. Now you can switch to your front facing 1.3 megapixel camera there, and both these cameras do shoot in HD. That's 720p, which is HD. It's not full 1080p HD, but it's HD, and the cameras are pretty good. You do have auto flash, you have HDR and things like that. You could turn on your grids. You have voice detection, so you can use your voice to take pictures. So it's on right now, and I could say cheese, and it'll take a picture, you know. And I could say smile. It's kind of delayed. Yeah, it's not working too good. It's kind of delayed. But you do have your voice detection there, and it does work. So there's that. And just to show you real quick, you can change your megapixel sizes here. And so you can see, in terms of camera, you can use the full 8 megapixels there. And there's all the resolutions. And then in terms of video, you do get full HD on the rear facing primary camera. But now, if you switch to the front facing camera, hey guys, how you doing, and you go to settings here, you can see it maxes out at 1280 by 960 for the pictures, and lower HD for the video. But in terms of cameras, I have to say it worked really well. And you don't have a ton of features. You have just what you need. You do have HDR, so you could turn on HDR, or you could leave it on auto. I just leave it on auto. You do have your grid lines, so if you want to line up a good shot there, you do have timer and everything, and flash and auto flash, and yeah. But in terms of cameras, LG didn't go too overboard with the features or anything like that. They just kept it really simple, and I can really enjoy that. So now let's get into some hold on guys, let me plug in the camera here. Alright, plug that up real good. Alright, had to plug in the camera real quick guys, sorry, didn't want it to die on you guys. Now in terms of picture quality, let's go through some samples here. So as you can see, there's a lot of glare on the camera, but these shots actually came out very well, and these are with the rear facing shooter, and it came out very well. And here's some close-ups. Yeah, it's not coming across too well on the camera, there's a lot of glare, but came out very well. Yeah, and then here's with the front facing camera here. There's my ugly mug. That was before I got my hair cut and things. Yeah, and then here are some little nighttime photos. I just thought it'd be funny. So I'm in the bathroom taking a picture with the lights off. And as you can see, the flash works quite well. It was very dark. And then, sitting in the room with family, enjoying some videos on the computer, just decided to sneak up on them and try to take a few shots. They didn't really notice till I pushed it because the flash was on, but it does quite well. Boy, that boy Dreads need to get retwisted bad. Okay, moving on. And this is in a little bit better light. It does well. And then here we have a video test for you guys. So let's just go ahead and use that and go okay. Alright, and right here we have a video test of the front facing camera of the LG G Vista. Can't really see what it looks like right now, and I won't be able to tell how the audio is coming across, but I think it should be okay. Just a few seconds. I wonder if, like the rear facing shooter, if you could take a picture while recording. Let's see. I think it did. Let's take another one just to be safe. Alright. Okay, so that was that for the rear front facing camera. Sorry guys. And these are the pictures I took while taking the video, and it did work quite well. So now here's the video test of the rear facing camera. Okay, so right here we have a video test of the rear facing camera on the LG G Vista. And I'm sorry if it's a little shaky. Don't have the best hands today. But the video is looking quite good. So yep, you can zoom in while taking video.